So file handling basically it will help you to read and write the data to the files. So you want to read the data from file or you want to write data. So you have in your program or some other file, you can read and write it to another file. For that purpose, you will use this file handling concepts. This is also called input and output stream concept, and these are available in java.io package. All the classes are available in java.io package. If you see here, so first scenario is for reading the data, how you will read the data from file. And second scenario is how to write the data to the files. These are the two scenarios we need mostly. And for reading the data, first you should have a data in the file. The file can be any kind of file. So text file or Excel file or properties file. It can be any kind of file. It has a data. That data you need to read it. So how can you read that data? So for that we have a few classes we are going to use and some methods. And because you are inputting from this file, you are inputting to your Java program. That's a file input stream class you can use. And it will read the byte-based data. Basically, data will stream in the network packets, either byte format or a character format. So that's how data will flow internally. So for that reading purpose, you are going to use file input stream class. It will read only byte data from file to your program. And another one, buffered input stream. So stream is just flowing, right? Stream is just flowing the data internally in the network packets. Packets wise, the data will stream. So that's the streaming means. And also, what is the difference between file input stream and buffered input stream? File input stream will read the 1 by 1 byte. Buffered input stream will read large chunk of data. First, the entire file data will load in this temporary location. From there, continuous streaming will happen, large chunk of data. At a time, you will get a bulk data. So each, chunk. So that's the this buffering. Buffering is basically, it won't stop. So, but file input stream 1 by 1 byte only. Instead of that, you can use a buffered input stream, and then you can read a large chunk of data at a time. So it will be very faster. Performance wise, when you have a large data in the file, then use both of them. First, a file input stream class, you create object, then you create object for a buffered input stream, then you read the data. So then large data will read so at a time, and it will finish quickly. Otherwise, this will take more time if you use only file input stream class. And there is one reader abstract class. Reader abstract class. We have a file reader class, buffer reader, file class. File reader will read the 1 by 1 character from the file to the program. Buffer reader will read large chunk of characters. That means entire lines will read at a time. So that's the buffer reader program here. And file class. The file class is basically, so it just represent this is a file. It just represent it is a file. So it is going to represent it's a file. So file and also properties file and Excel file. So that's the file class. And so you can see here, first you will always create object for a file class. Then file object you will use in the file input stream. So there's a parameterized constructors you are using here. And in this parameterized constructor, you have to pass file class object reference. Once a file input stream you create the object, that object you will use in the buffered input stream object as a parameter for the constructor. So like that, so dependency will be there. So you have to use first file class object, that object reference you use in the file input stream class parameterized constructor, and that reference you use for buffered input stream. Otherwise, you can use only file input stream also, or you can use only file class, file input stream, buffered input stream, all three. If you want to use a buffered input stream, this is the hierarchy. First file class object you create, file input stream class object you create, buffered input stream class object you create. So even if you want to use a file reader and buffer reader, first you have to create object for file class, file reader class, and buffer reader class. So that's how you need to create object for file reader, buffer reader, and file class. So file is just represent the file. It is a file. So what kind of file, you can tell that. So there are different files will be there. There are different files will be there. Okay. So now okay. So for reading purpose, you have to use these methods, read method and read line method. So read method and read line method you have to use. Read method when you can use, it will read either byte data or character data. When you're using a file input stream and file reader, you can use a read method. So when you're using a so buffer reader, you have to use a read line method because it will read the entire line. Entire line it will read. So that time we'll use read line method. So then we have so you have a data in the Java program and you need to write it to another file. So that means you are outputting. So if you are outputting means you have to use a file output stream class and buffered output stream class. So writer class object you can use abstract class and file writer, buffer writer. So the same file output stream will write the byte data. Buffered output stream will write the, so buffered output stream will write the large chunk of data at a time. So file writer class will write so the data to the file. Buffer writer will write large chunk of lines of code. So that's so you have to use a flush method after write method. Write method is the only one will write the data. So all these classes you have to create object except this writer class. So then object reference start write method you can use. Then flush method, when you're using a buffering, you must use a flush method. It will flush out the stream, current stream, and the next stream will read. So new line, so the cursor will move to next line. So that's the how data will be written to the files. So if you see here, and I have given a clear picture. So we have to create object for file class. Then you create object for a file input stream. Fs equal to new file input stream, and pass the file object reference here as a parameterized constructor. So buffered input stream. So you create object for buffered input stream BAS equal to new buffered input stream. You have to use a file input stream object reference for this constructor. And file reader and buffer reader. Same way you can so create object for file reader, fr equal to new file reader, and give the file path. The file path is nothing but this file class object. This is the file location you are going to give. Where is the file? So for reading purpose, you need a file that you can read it. Okay. Yeah. And even buffer reader also you can create object. If you want to use a buffer reader, more data if you want to read, you can use the, even you can control the data. You can so basically it will read 8192 characters, but you can control into buffer size equal to 1000, and buffer reader, so text reader equal to new buffer reader. So fr buffer size you can give. So that we can see all this code one by one. Let's go and target writing. And I want to give, before going there, again file output stream for writing and outputting the data to the files. And here you can give file writer fw equal to new file writer, file path, and you can append that. And so you can see here, for example, this one, this line of code will override the data. Every time you're writing, new data will write every time. And this one, file writer, so fw new file writer, and it will append the data. It will append the data. So this will append the data, because see, can you see here, file writer, here one parameterized constructor, here two parameterized constructor. So Boolean append value, you are making it as a true. That means you are telling, okay, append it, don't overwrite. If you use a single parameterized constructor, that will overwrite. So previous data will be gone and new data only will write every time. That's so you need to take care. So for your file, you want to overwrite or you want to append, what you want to do. That based on that, you take a constructors, different constructors. That's why constructors are very, very important. You should understand that. The constructor purpose.